People talked about money, success. You're finding a way to survive. Nobody talked about God. I thought life was only about moving forward. I came here at 17, summer air here in Denver, mountains beneath the evening sky. One suitcase beside me, and a future I could not see. America looked beautiful at night. Wide highways after rain, neon lights through taxi windows, airplanes crossing quiet clouds. Everything felt so far away. At school I smiled softly, pretending I understood. At work I kept moving, even when my heart felt tired. And every midnight the loneliness returned. Somewhere in the quiet far from home, God found me. Not loudly, not suddenly, but softly. Like rain after midnight, I crossed an ocean, searching for direction, and found a peace I never knew before. Back home, nobody believed in God. People believed in hard work, sleeping less, enduring more. So I carried everything alone, fear, pressure, confusion. There were nights I drove with nowhere to go. Oh, Chinese songs playing softly, rain against the windshield, empty roads, beaming street lights. And somewhere between those highways I realized success could not save me. I didn't know where life was leading me, and for the first time I prayed, God, if you are real, please guide me. Somewhere in the quiet far from home, God found me. Slowly, gently, like sunrise after darkness. And every lonely night feels a little less cold, because now I know I am not alone. 小时候，没有人告诉我什么是信仰。大家都在谈钱、谈未来、谈成功。我以为人生只能靠自己，可是后来，在离家最远的地方，我第一次开始祷告。God was leading me here the whole time. falling apart. I held on to the pieces, trying not to break, wondering if anyone could hear me in the dark. Most days I'd take my son to the park down the street, watching him run ahead while I dragged my feet. The world kept moving forward, everyone seemed fine, and I kept asking questions I couldn't leave behind. I thought God had left somewhere in the silence, when I could not see a way through the fear and through the pain, when the road was growing darker and my strength was running thin. I thought I walked alone, but you were with me then. I'd stay awake long after everyone slept, staring at the ceiling, holding thoughts I never said. I wasn't looking for miracles or answers from the sky. I just wanted a reason to keep trying one more time. 那段最黑的夜里，我以为你已走远，后来才明白，原来你一直都在，就在我看不见的地方。Then one day a door opened, not the one I would have chosen, but looking back I see it was the one I needed. Some roads don't make sense until they're far behind. Some prayers aren't answered the way we have in mind. I thought God had left somewhere in the silence, when I could not see the end of the valley I was in, when my heart was full of questions and my faith was hanging on. I thought I walked alone, but you were there all along. If you're standing in the silence, wondering where God has gone, maybe He's closer than you know, holding you until the morning comes. God broke the silence with a simple call. One small door changed it all. New road, new sky. Looking back, I know why God broke the silence and led me on. One phone call, one new way, one new road far away. Colorado, long ago. Winter winds falling, snow pack the car, leave it all, trust the road, trust the call. God broke the silence with a simple call. One small door changed it all. New road, new sky. Looking back, I know why God broke the silence and led me on. Michigan, morning light, open fields, clear skies, new church doors opened wide. Friendly hands by our side. Day by day, step by step, looking back, no regrets. What felt strange soon felt right. You were there through the night. Not through fire, not through fame, not through power, not through gain. Through a church, through a friend, through small things again and again. 新的路，新的天，新的朋友在身边。回头看，才发现你的恩典在前面。God broke the silence with a simple call. One small door changed it all. New road, new sky. Looking back, I know why God broke the silence and brought us home. God broke the silence, and you're still leading